So really glad to have on the show. And it's been a long time since I've seen him. How's it going, Tui? It's good seeing you.
Long time no see. How's it going?
Yeah, good, good. We're gonna get into a little bit more about sort of what you're up to now, and I think some people might find it a little surprising, but I thought before we got into that, we just jump right into you know just sort of memory lane, I guess. That's sort of what we do with a lot of this lately is a lot of these guys that from the time that they played. I don't really think they necessarily got a chance to go back and see sort of
Oh man.
where they were and what it was like. So you know even for you, I think it's obviously nice to for our viewers to be able to look back, but I think it's even great for the guys that have come on, and I think maybe you'll be no different. But the first thing I wanted to start off with was this clip I found here. I don't know if you remember, but we caught up with you, Hall of Honor.
Oh my gosh, what the heck? I totally forgot about this. This was the Hall of Honor,
Yeah.
right? Oh my goodness. Wow. What? Oh my gosh, dude. This event was actually really cool. I think on the same day I had my grad party, I'm pretty sure.
I
And I
remember
had
you
to go
telling
from
us.
the,
Yep.
yeah, I was like, I think I had to like skip the first half of my grad party. I went to because we didn't know what the dates were going to be.
Yep. Yep.
Of the event, and then we ended up going to it. And then after it was done, we rushed right over, and it was funny, man. Oh my goodness! And my
Yeah.
good friends were there too, Michael Ma'a and
Yep.
Evan Enriquez.
Yep.
Ended up
And
making that event too, so that was nice.
yeah, I thought the funniest thing in the interview, I think Avon did that interview with you, was you said just like any typical high school guy, I win a couple of state championships, and I just that was like so classic. But yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh!
it has been a little while, but yeah, I thought that was a cool clip. But that senior year, obviously in particular, you know, um, in terms of state championships, certainly was a nice year for you, but also for Punahou. And I
Mhm.
think a lot of that started off with with that run through the ILH that ultimately culminated in a title game against Mililani. And I think three touchdown passes. This first one
Oh my
was to Sitar. I
gosh!
think talk about sort of how was that
Jeez,
offense clicking during that title game for you guys? Obviously, it was early on.
it was good. I think what was nice about it is that that year our team, probably out of the 3 years I was on the varsity team, that was probably the team that was most. We were really close knit. Like the chemistry was really there, and by the time we got to the state championship game, I think we were peaking pretty well. So that game we kind of just were able to handle it like any other regular season game, and I think it showed. I think on that first touchdown pass never goes to the guy I threw it to. I was like the first time I actually hit that guy. Now that I remember, but it was so nice, man. Everyone was playing great that year. I mean, everyone really clicked, and just nothing could go wrong that year, luckily, and we were able to get back to the state championship for the third year in a row and absolutely kill it with. I wouldn't want to be with a different group of guys. Those guys are so cool, man, and just all the friendships and everything. I mean, you can ask anyone on that team. That it was just the chemistry was crazy compared to our other years,
And
and
the
I think that
second
really
one,
helped us.
obviously, this one here to Kanawai. Was
Oh yeah,
he ultimately one of the best, if not up there amongst all the receivers that you've seen play in the
yeah.
ILH and maybe even beyond?
Shoot, man, I lucked out having this guy. He was I mean, I don't want to blow his head up and say he was the very best, but he was pretty darn good, man. He was a good outlet for me, a good go-to. He kind of got to expand his route range his junior year compared to just deep bombing it the year previous.
Hmm.
But it's so nice to have a guy like that, and I mean, it shows in practice. He's a hard worker. He works hard not only on the field but off the field, and it shows through his play.
And we saw that other clip. Obviously a guy that I think was very much important part of your guys' passing attack all year was Dakota Torres. Um,
Right, right.
I know in that championship game that touchdown pass was one obviously for the highlights, but I think you guys utilized the tight end quite a bit in that game.
Hmm.
Obviously, a lot of the focus on the outside with Kanawai and Trent
Right.
and those guys. Um, but we would be remiss to not sort of talk about Mililani didn't just give up. They were down early. And
Yeah.
they came back and made this game close, right? I mean, talk about sort of these two plays. I'm guessing you sort of still remember sort of what they schemed on these.
Yeah. I think they ran a couple trick plays, if I remember correctly, that got them back into it. And I don't think we've seen them run it before, and just like that, they were right back in it. And shoot, we were having a tough time towards the end there. They kind of caught us off guard a couple times, but I think the coaches towards the end of the game were really good at adjusting the game plan and just making sure we didn't take anything is an option for them like at that point. So it was nice that our coaching staff really pushed it at the end there, and our defense was so good too. Like they really saved us at the end there. It was, with Joe with the final pick and
Yeah, and
just
speaking
making
of
some
that,
crucial plays down the line.
yeah, I mean, talk about that play. I think like this one was the one that I think for the most part sealed the deal, and I think
Yeah,
you know Mililani obviously with a lot of capability with those guys that they had.
yeah.
How big a play how big a play was that? Amongst all the
Jeez,
plays in
man.
that game.
Talking about having a weight off your shoulders after he made that play, it was crazy because it's like we get to that point and we had a good, every year we came up short, and our senior year we kind of had a good lead, and them coming back was like, oh shoot, guys, the game isn't over yet. Is it gonna be another one of those years? It's always in the back of your head, but you know, with Joel sealing the deal like that, it's just like finally we actually did it after all these years, because we had the same senior group for those last 3 seasons, and to finally get it with the special group of guys was made it all the better, and especially with one of our seniors making the game saving play, it was super cool.
I think I recall in that game too. Cedric made like a big play in the latter parts, right? Like was it a sack or some kind of like a
I think
TFL
yeah,
or
I think it
something?
might yeah, I think it might have been a sack, like to take them out of scoring range, but shoot, that didn't stop them, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was kind of neat to look back at that. I kind of looked back at that with Kenzie a little, as well.
Mm,
Not that game, but necessarily, but their championship game. But it's just obviously you look at some of those clips and you see some of the fans. I'm sure like I'm not alone. It's obviously really kind of heartbreaking that and to not have any really fans that are able to do these kinds of things, and hopefully we'll see that next year. But
yeah.
thus far you know it's just something that I guess we have to look forward to, and a lot of what's come out of this is it's we take sometimes things for granted, and I think like
Mm,
it's something that even for me, I know personally, it's like I miss the sports, not just because it's what we do for content here, but it's just just to see all the
hmm.
camaraderie and things of that nature, and
Right.
obviously you know it's something that I'm sure everyone is missing, and I think another thing that I'm sure a lot of people are missing is upcoming, which is which we still hope that there will be a volleyball season.
Hopefully, yeah.
And one of the things, like I was telling you before we got on, that I look forward to just about every year is this tournament that you guys have. Talk a little bit about the Clash of the Titans, and
Oh
what
man,
that meant
yeah.
for your stint at Punahou anyway.
Yeah. So personally, man, when I was at Punahou in 7th grade, and every year I used to watch the Clash of the Titans, where the would be two California teams most of the time that would come down and play us and one other Hawaii team. But man, I used to watch Taylor Crabb and Josh Taylor, the McKibbins used to dominate that tournament, and I already, after watching them would had the drive to dominate the tournament just like them, right? Because it's just super inspiring watching those guys. Those guys were so good. And yeah, just a chance for us Hawaii teams to really solidify our. I think at the time they took into account that tournament for overall ranking in the country, I want to say. Um, but yeah, just a chance for us Hawaii teams to solidify our spot as top programs, and that. Although we are a small island and a small state, we do have a high quality volleyball play over here, and I think we did a good job at that. I got to play with some really good guys, and I got to play against some really good guys. I mean, we beat each other up. I mean, I took some hard losses in the Clash of the Titans for sure. I wish I could win them all, but we couldn't. But it was so cool. It was such a great experience, man. It just helps everyone get better. Gets volleyball out there, and it's entertaining for everyone too.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool to see, not for the people especially that follow volleyball, some of the names that you see from the Miracostas or the Huntington Beach
Yeah.
Highs. I mean, they're guys that
Hmm.
are prominent names in some of the top collegiate programs and
Right.
professionally and so forth. And it was neat to see them, but also neat to see like how a lot of our guys, obviously could stack up with the best of them. And
Hmm.
um, I think. For me, I kind of the equivalent, I guess, would sort of, obviously there's only two teams that come down, but it was sort of like the
Hmm.
Iolani Classic, if you would call it, for
Right. Right.
for
Right.
boys volleyball, and so it's something that I definitely it was good to see like how
Yeah.
how the best teams in Hawaii stacked up, and obviously they tended to stack up pretty closely to
Hmm.
year after year, and that year was I think Kamehameha Hawaii was the team that you
Yeah.
guys had come in, right? And I
That's
think
right. That's right.
um, it was interesting because we rarely, as scoring live guys, we don't really get to see Kamehameha Hawaii or some of these neighbor island teams very often. And
Uh.
so, that particular year, it was neat because we got to see, early on what, we were going to end up seeing
Hmm.
in a team like Kamehameha Hawaii with, the Enriquez, from the coach all the way down, obviously.
Yeah.
But it obviously made for an interesting title match, and you
Oh
know
man.
um, talk sort of about this volleyball match. I think like it ended up being a 4 setter, right, for Punahou, but it was
Right.
really
I think
close all
so.
the way through, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think. Yeah. I want to say they came within two or three for each set that we took, but still, man, those games are tough personally for me, man. Evan Enriquez is like my brother, so it's always hard. Him and his family work their butt off to get to that point, and because usually I want to say in the past, I want to say Kamehameha Hawaii has never really made it to the finals until the years I was playing. I want to say so. I remember it was always Punahou like Kamehameha Kapalama or like actually yeah, I think that's who I was used to watching, but yeah, man, getting to these games is really hard, especially playing in the finals, man. They just shifted into another gear. They got some crazy magic juju on their side of the court. I don't know what it is that always keeps them in it, but it always turns out to be a fun game. Always enjoy that.
Yeah, and I think this one in particular, I think you guys did build a pretty healthy lead, in that fourth set, and nothing like you say was taken for granted, but we'll see that coming up in a little bit. But one of the things I thought was kind of, I want to say funny about it, but like how it sort of ended up, right? Like right here, ball went over, and then it's like, oh, but I
Yeah, that's right. What the heck? No, yeah, it was very like, yeah, anticlimactic. I guess we weren't really sure because like I want to say like a good majority of us don't really look at the score when we play. You kind of just I want to say as a volleyball player, you kind of just have a feeling of like, okay, we have a good lead. Like, okay, it's pretty close. Like you don't, at least for me, I don't really like look at the score to see what the score is. But so at that time where when he hit the net and the ball came down and they're like, okay, game's over. We're like, oh wait, that's the game. I guess it kind of caught us off guard a little bit, but ended up enjoying it later in the day for sure.
Yeah, one of the things I thought when I was going through some of the photos was and stuff was like, I was like, hey, there's this, the dog pile that happens at the end, and and like you weren't really in there, and you see in that video like you're just kind of cruising along on the
Yeah, I was like,
outside.
I'm not getting crushed by this dog pile. There's no way I'm gonna avoid this. My body's already aching.
Yeah,
I'm good. I don't need any more aches and pains.
but I think like for me, when I think about Punahou teams, obviously Punahou, they like I tell Rick, like it's almost like it's ordained that Punahou is gonna be, taking that boys volleyball title, and it's basically been that way. But
Hmm.
amongst all the teams that I really remember, you know, that team that you guys had, with Micah Ma'a and I think Andrews was on that team, and
Oh, right, right,
there's a
right.
bunch of I think Will was a setter that year, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Will. It was Will. We're running a 6-2.
You know,
I think it was Will and Todd Grubner, I want to say.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that team was, about as loaded as any. Obviously, the Ryan Wilcox team kind
Hmm.
of comes to mind, and there's been a
Hmm.
lot of great teams at Punahou, but it just seems like it's if Ohio State's the wide receiver factory, it seems like Punahou boys volleyball just churns out products year after year. Is you attest that a lot to the system and what Rick's brought to the table, or what's sort of the
Yeah, definitely.
what's
I
been that
think
magic
just,
recipe?
man, I think just, the ability to get just a couple players that are, in my years, it was just, we had, we had, luckily we had a lot of club volleyball players and a lot of guys that took interest into the game while I was there. And they were able to train in the off season. And luckily those club players, a lot of them were on Punahou, and we were already good friends. And, I think chemistry plays a really big part, especially in volleyball. Um, and yeah, man, with Rick's coaching and with the chemistry we have, and just finding the right pieces to put on the court and the right system that fits the people you have on that team for that year. I mean, we're lucky that we got to figure it out, pretty smoothly every year. It was nice.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of state titles, like I was thinking, we wouldn't it would be right for us to not mention, you're not the only Tuileta to recently, bring home some state hardware,
That's
to the
right.
Tuileta name. Like it was weird. Like when I first heard, saw like her name that was, down on the score sheet and so forth. I was like,
Uh-huh.
I wonder, but it was when I first got to see them play where I was like, oh yeah, yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
I that year, obviously it was a team that had a lot of senior kind of veteran girls on that club, but I really think what she brought to the table really helped sort of kind of propel them. How how cool is it to be able to witness that, and her winning a state title with Les Jardins?
Yeah, it was super cool. One, because, that was probably the first time I actually got to go to one of her bigger games and support her and scream and yell, because I'm usually on the court playing, so I don't really get that chance. But also because growing up, she's always in the gym. We were at practice, she's always in there touching the ball and, studying to herself. And then eventually she got to join a club and she got to train every year and kind of go through the training and process that all her other siblings went through, and to finally see it live on the court and all of it come into play, it's super cool. And then for her to get the state championship, it's nice that she got to experience that.
And I've heard, and you we were talking about that. So Santa Clara, it's obviously
Yeah.
that's a nice program to be playing for. And how excited is she? Obviously there's probably some measure of disappointment with like we mentioned with this
Hmm.
whole situation. But how excited is she to be committed there, and set as far as playing
Yeah.
beyond high school.
Right. I think she's super excited. I mean, I think it was always her goal to, make it to the next level and to play with the best of the best. And, the fact that she can go to college, get her education, get her school paid for, I think she's really happy. It takes some stress off of our parents. And I know that was number one for her. And then on top of that, she gets to play the game that she loves, you know, get her degree. And, regardless of how the situation is right now, she still trains. I mean, she tries to do as much as she can. I mean, lucky for us, we got some things at home, to keep us in shape and, just make the best situation of what we have. I think part of being an athlete and playing at the next level is making the best out of, what you have. And she's definitely able to do that right now. And yeah, she's really excited to play and especially get out of the house for sure.
Speaking of, from one SC to another, I think like I remember, your national letter of intent, and those are during the days that we used to, stream the national letter of intent ceremony
Oh
in
man.
February with Doris. Yeah, hi Doris, I miss you. Hope everything is all good. But here's that shot of
Oh man,
you,
there it is.
back in the day here, and
Wow.
it was interesting for me when we saw it because we knew at the time, right? It was kind of between UH and USC at that point, and you kind
Right,
of
right.
opted to go there, and it ultimately you ended up looping back to play for Hawaii. Like how
Yeah.
special was that for you? And but like and sort of what was it? What sort of takeaways did you have from your time at USC and applying that
Mhm.
to when you got back on campus in Hawaii and Manoa?
Yeah, I think what was super cool is that, even though I went off, I remember, I gotta give a shout out to Charlie Wade, man. He knew that the process for me was really hard, and he always told me, he's like, you know what, if you want to come back and play, don't hesitate to give me a call. I mean, he was super nice in the fact that he just was super supportive and understood the recruiting process and the journey of, like, the student athlete and whatnot. And I still have friends to this day that I still talk to. All my roommates my freshman year from USC, man. They actually came to our games when I was at UH, and we went up to California to play. They'd go to all of our games and be the loudest people there. So I made a lot of friends there. Still have a lot of friends there. I had a good year and a half, 2 years of experience there, and I don't regret going away at all. I mean, I think I think life happens for you, and it doesn't happen to you. So I think everything happens for a reason, and just part of the process. And then when I got to come home and play in front of the home crowd, I mean, how cool is that, getting to play in front of my family? I mean, I live 5 minutes away from UH, such an easy trip for my parents to make and for my family to see me play, because they're used to, watching me my whole life, from, club to high school and to college, to continue that. And, we're used to going to the UH games, and the crowd's always amazing. And I mean, I was just thankful for the journey and for the process. No matter how ugly it got, and I mean, it got its highs and lows, and I mean, it happened. So it was great, man. I enjoyed my time for sure.
I just look at this picture, it's cool to see, another guy that, I'd be kind of, I would like to be able to catch up with him, it's a
Yeah,
Hawaii guy that, I was, for
yeah,
one, I'm
that's
proud of
right.
what he ultimately grew into, right? Like when we first saw Austin playing, at
Uh,
Moanalua, like it was hard to say, like how do some of these local guys develop, and like in
mhm.
how would he fit in? And obviously, he did a lot of damage ultimately for Hawaii, at the hitter
Yeah,
position. And um I'm sure when I talk to him, he's gonna talk about you and that process, and sort of like how I'm sure he benefited
yeah,
from a
definitely.
lot of that. How proud are you of
Yeah,
what Austin was able to accomplish throughout his career.
man. Especially at UH, at the time he worked hard. He did what he was supposed to do. Worked hard in the classroom, and hats off to him for transferring is a tough decision, man. Especially going through the process myself, and but now it seems like it's pretty normal for people to do that, I guess. But back when I was in school, I mean, not saying that was like 10 years ago or anything, but when I was there, it's a tough decision for sure. I mean, you think about a lot of things. There's a lot of factors that go into it, and Austin is a very he's such a good person, and when hard decisions like that come up, I know it takes a toll on people like that, and but he was able to make the decision that he needed to, and he benefited a lot from it. He's killing it at UCLA. He's doing so well, and he's staying healthy and killing it. And that's all you can really ask for, man.
Yeah, for sure. And it's kind of interesting that you mentioned, like things that happen for a reason. And one of the things that I wanted to sort of get that story was, the reason, I guess, or the story behind, what your latest venture is. Like when I
Okay.
first heard about it, I was like, oh yeah, I heard about this guy is like, he's baking cookies and stuff, and it's super good. And I'm like, oh yeah, for real? Like, who is that? And then, he said, oh, it's a cookie man. And I was like, okay, oh, that's cool. So I checked it out, and then And then as I scrolled through, I realized like, hey, I know this guy, and I think like it's such a neat
Hey,
thing, and
there it
I
is.
want you to kind of what sort of what's the backstory on this? I'm sure I'm not the only one that
Yes.
wants to know. So what's the backstory on
Yeah.
this whole thing?
So, man, when the pandemic hit and everyone was out of a job, and I don't want to say I really like I had no intention of doing this like at all. I just posted a picture, just took a picture of some cookies I made, put it on my story, and a couple friends messaged me. They're like, "Oh, you know what? We'll take some cookies." So I was like, "Okay, are they serious or okay?" So I was like, "Yeah, we'll pay for them. Just they look good. Just give us a couple boxes." And I was like, "Okay, that sounds good." I mean, made a couple boxes, and man, talk about just word of mouth getting out, and then from those two people, it kind of just like I'm really bad at the whole social media thing. If people haven't gotten that by now, but like it was really organic. It kind of just grew on its own and word of mouth. People talk about it, and shoot, I was getting so many orders in my DMs on my personal account. I was like, okay, maybe I should start another page and actually, take this a little serious, see how it goes. And man, here we are about our first delivery day was April 1st of 2020, almost a year, 8 months. Here we are. I'm like, week one, I'm like, oh, we probably won't make it to a week two. Week two, I was like, probably one more week and I'll be done with. And here we are in January, almost like yeah, 8 months later, I want to say. And man, I'm so thankful that I get to, do this, and it's really fun. It's something I enjoy, and man, you never know what life's gonna give you. And I found something that I personally enjoy, and it's really out of the box for me. Like I have no business degree. I don't have any experience in like, the best baking or anything, but I kind of like self-teach myself, and I think it's just part of the process, kind of throw yourself in the fire and you learn from your mistakes, which I've made a lot through this process. But yeah, dude, it's super fun. I mean, I had a couple friends that helped me out, and it's all I've been doing during this quarantine. Honestly, I've lucked out and kind of consider this my work, I guess.
Nice. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's Cookie Man Official is the Instagram, and I think from when I started following, it was probably much less than the 3,000 plus you got now. So
Yeah. Oh
you
my
know
gosh.
definitely when I first saw it, I was like, dang, this is cool. And that's actually once I first heard about it is when I reached out to you, and ultimately that's how busy
Yeah.
you've been, because now is the first time you're on. But like uh I was mentioning to you off air, what I want to do is we'll put together something, me and you, to we'll post something get something posted up on your Instagram, and we'll
Yeah,
do some
absolutely.
redirection and from our Scoring Live side, and let's do like a little little contest promo thing, and we'll get some guys some free
Yeah,
Cookie Man
yeah,
cookies.
for sure.
So
Let's see who wants to get some cookies.
you guys, if you're out on the Twitch, if you comment in the Twitch, your interest in the Cookie Man's goods, maybe we'll give you like an inside track or whatever. But we'll definitely be posting some information about a contest, and I really think like it was surprising to say the least for me to hear that was your thing. But I was just so stoked that
Yeah, man.
of what you're doing, and that it's successful, and you know uh
Yeah.
I gotta go and get my order in eventually.
Yeah, we gotta
Yeah.
get you a couple boxes here. You gotta get some samples, man. I
Yeah.
remember back in the day when Scoring Live was first coming up, and I used to do these interviews, and here we are now, man.
Oh, yeah, yeah, like every time we have guys come on, like I was mentioning to you, before the stream, it's just it's so cool to see, all the stories, and where, some of these guys have,
Right.
come, where when they were then, and now, and
Yep.
you're always a good interview. Like I never had to worry about whether you're gonna tell me enough. But like I was, I always when I talked to
I tried.
Vi.
I tried. I
I talked to
tried.
Vi. I was like, you weren't like that in the beginning, man. Like we had to squeeze everything out of you, you know. But it's great to see these guys that you know they've become much more polished, and they're really great representatives not only of the schools that they're at
Hmm.
or the schools that they were in high school, but representatives of Hawaii, and like the kind of guys that I think come from a lot of the programs that we have here, whether it's football or basketball or whatever sport it is. And yeah, so
Right.
um, I always thought I'd be talking to you, and it would be something more sport related. But I thought it was super cool that it was cookies. So like just know like I was I was keen on having you come on, and it was like mostly because like I really you know have always been behind what you were doing, and you were one of the guys that you
Oh,
were always
appreciate it.
one of the guys that always talked to us, and like was always the personality guy that we want to have, and it's a
Oh, I
good
appreciate that.
representative. And so to see you take this next step with the cookies, man, I like it. And I'm glad that it's everybody has had to pivot and do things in with this whole pandemic, and we're obviously with this here we're no different. But I'm really stoked that you made that pivot, and I hope that it's going to be something that can be lot much beyond whatever is going to
Yeah.
happen with this current
Who
situation.
knows?
But
I know. Shoot, man.
so what we do at the end of most of our or all of our streams is to give you a chance to give some shout outs to people that you want to thank over the years, or whatever. So you
Yeah.
got any shout outs?
Oh man. I got shout out to my family. Shout out to the Maas, Charlie Jenkins, my on the volleyball side, Rick Toon, all my old teammates, anyone that's ever coached me, anyone I've ever ran into. Thank you to Scoring Live for having me. Man, I remember back in the day. I look at your guys' page now. There's like 30 something thousand followers. It's crazy. I remember when you guys had the first. I looked at your guys' website too. I was way different from when I used to log on when I was in like my freshman year or something. I was like, wow, it's crazy to see the progress, man. And thanks to everyone at Scoring Live, Punahou staff, anyone at Punahou, anyone I ever played with, any of my teammates. I'm not gonna miss anyone. And yeah, appreciate it, guys. It's nice being on and seeing you again. Always a pleasure.
Oh yeah, man. And I remember though, like that time I think I saw you when you first came back to play, I think for Hawaii, and we were doing I think our first free throw contest out at the Great Aloha Run Expo, and I think you guys were doing like some kind of signing or something at the time, and I was like,
Oh, that's right.
yeah, and
Oh
I
wow,
think
that was a while ago.
yeah it was, and I think like I think you have one of our hard limited edition
I
not many
do
people
the
have
shirt. I
Scoring Live
still
shirts.
have it.
So
I still have it.
yeah. So
Oh my gosh, that's right.
yeah, but I really think like I may have seen you like once after that, but like I think like it has been too long, and I'm glad I got to see you on here. But I'll definitely be
Yeah, man,
connecting with you uh,
for
at
sure.
your Cookie Man drop offs. And if you guys again haven't checked it out, you make sure you do, and we'll post some stuff on that little entry contest giveaway thing in a little bit.
Yes.
But yeah, so on behalf of Larry Tui Tuileta, the Cookie Man, I appreciate you coming on. Hope you enjoy the rest of your time off. I know you obviously are always grinding with now with the cookies and everything. So enjoy your little break. And everyone on the stream, thanks for tuning in. I'm hoping to get another stream going on sometime later this week. But if not, on the 28th, we're going to be having a guy that I think a lot of shoe guys will know. His name is Bryson Hoenjo, the guy that started Untied Hawaii, and I think that'll be a neat stream, and someone that I think will have a lot to say about sneakers. I asked Tui if he wanted to talk sneakers. He's like, oh, maybe not so
Shoot, man,
much,
I
but
wish, man, I am so behind on my shoe game. I'm a slipper guy. I've still got pairs of shoes from college and national team I have not used, and I'm gonna use them. I just, I'm a reuse guy. I'm a slipper guy. I'm a barefoot guy.
yeah, but I think that's that works. That sort of fits what I would think. You're kind of in that mold. So okay, well, everybody, thanks again for tuning in, and again, we appreciate everybody's support, and we're hoping to get some live sports going again, and when we do, I think we got some neat things in store on this channel, or maybe even move this on to like Instagram Live or some other platform. So appreciate you guys supporting this, and that's it for this one. Thanks again, Tui, for coming on, and
All right,
right
thanks
on,
for having
everybody.
me.